When I got fired in 2018, I realized that my biggest financial problem wasn't that I had lost my job. It was that I had built my entire financial life around one paycheck. I'd worked hard, I had a professional career, but when that one source disappeared, everything suddenly felt so uncertain. That experience taught me a lesson I still live by to this day. A paycheck is income, it's not a complete financial plan. I'm not saying that having a good job is unimportant. My career has opened doors for me, supported my family, and helped me build a better life. It's actually been the founding ground for most of the things that I do. But I no longer believe that the size of one paycheck determines how financially secure you are. So for me, financial security began to mean something different. Having options. The option to earn through a skill, like plumbing, like hair braiding, the option to draw from an investment when necessary, like stocks, like bonds, the option to create income outside of my job, and the option to respond when life changes without feeling as though everything has collapsed. You feel like everything has collapsed when you don't have options. That understanding did not transform my life overnight. I had to learn what building options actually look like. My first financial market investment was approximately $350 in Ford Model stock. So at that time, this is 2019, Ford was trading somewhere around $8 or $9 per share. I wasn't trying to become rich from $350. I was actually very curious. I wanted to understand what happened after you pressed the buy button. So during my lunch breaks at work, I would open the Fidelity app, go through it and check my investments. When the numbers were green, I was always very happy. I'm like, yes, my money is growing. It's 380, it's 400. When they were red, I became curious and slightly frightened, I must admit. Then when I refreshed the app, I would think maybe something is going to turn the red button green on days when I had red. It could not. But watching that investment move, from up and down, green, red, taught me more than reading the stock market from a distance had done for me. So I started asking real questions. Why did the price rise? Why did it fall? What was happening inside the company? What is market capitalization? What does earning mean? What was happening in the wider economy? So these are questions that I asked. So for the first time, investing was no longer a theory. My money was involved. And that's why I encourage people to begin responsibly. Even if the amount feels small, still start. Invest your first dollar. Invest your first pound. Invest your first euro. Invest your first naira. Invest your first cedi. If you're from Ghana, shout out to you. Invest your first franc CFA to my Cameroonian brothers and sisters. Invest your first yen, your first Brazilian real? I don't know. Whatever, the currency of Brazil. So whatever currency you invest, I want you to begin with an amount that you can responsibly risk. So your first investment does not have to make you rich. It should make you curious. Curiosity without discipline can become expensive. I learned that too. So as I gained confidence, I began thinking I could make much more money through penny stocks because there was a day I made 600 from penny stocks. So in 2002, I invested approximately $10,000 in one penny stock. That stock eventually went down to zero. I lost the entire investment. That loss taught me that taking action does not mean being reckless. I just want to laugh about it today, but there is a difference between a calculated risk and simply focusing on how much you might gain while ignoring how much you could lose. I had to learn to respect risk. I had to understand that being familiar with financial terms did not automatically make me a disciplined investor. I had been to business school. I have an MBA, but I had to accept the fact that experience sometimes charges tuition. Mine happened to cost me $10,000. Would I prefer to have learned that lesson for $100? Absolutely. But I would not give up the experience I have gained through investing, the wins, the losses, the questions, and the judgment I'm continuing to develop. Because I can talk about finance today, not simply because I attended business school. I can talk about finance today because I participated in the market. I made decisions. I made mistakes. I learned. And then I made different decisions. Years later, actually, to be precise, last year when I bought my house, that was one of the proudest moments of my life because I had visualized owning a home for a long time. Saving the down payment had been difficult, but I was able to pull from several sources. I used my savings, I sold investments, I borrowed against retirement-related accounts. Those options helped me achieve something that savings alone had not yet made possible for me. But after buying the house, I faced yet another reality. My life had become more expensive. Obviously, if you have a house, you know what I mean. There was now a mortgage, a car payment, utilities, maintenance, and all the other costs that come with owning a home. I was proud of what I had built, but I was also struggling to break even comfortably. So one day I looked at the car sitting in my driveway and I asked myself, why is this car parked here when it could be helping me pay for the life I'm building? I listed it on Turo the next day. When the first rental income came in, I did not think I'm rich. You know what I thought? You want to know? I thought, this actually works and I can do it too. That moment gave me peace. Not because the business required no effort. There were customers, maintenance, expenses, risks, and problems to manage. In fact, there were days, especially weekends, when I had to drop off the car at the airport. But for the first time, that particular income was not tied only to another hour I personally spent working at my job. So eventually, I listed yet another car. But something I owned had become another option. And that changed the way I started looking at everything. I stopped seeing my hair braiding ability as only a skill I occasionally used when a customer called me or texted me. I formalized it into a business. By that, I mean I created an LLC. I stopped assuming that every business had to be built alone. So today, I'm exploring another venture with partners who bring different professional experiences and strengths. We are still building, and I do not know exactly what the final outcome would be, but that is also part of the lesson. You know, building options does not mean waiting until success is guaranteed. No, it's completely different from that. It means taking thoughtful action, learning what works, and remaining willing to adjust. You know, I used to believe that complete ownership was always the ideal. Now I understand that sometimes it's better to share ownership of something real with people whose strengths complement yours than to own 100% of an idea that never gets built. So that does not mean entering partnerships carelessly. It means recognizing that collaboration can also be an option. So my investments are options. My skills are options. My businesses are options. My partnerships can become options. I said I'm still building. So none of them guarantees that life will always be easy. But together, they mean that my entire future does not depend on one source responding exactly as I hope it will. That is what changed my life. Not simply having more money, no. Knowing that I could create more than one response when life happened. And I want to be clear. I'm not telling everyone to start a car rental business, no. I'm not telling you which stock to buy, no. I'm not telling you to quit your job or rush into a partnership. Absolutely no. Your options may look completely different from mine. Maybe your option is investing consistently. Maybe it's, what can I think of? Developing a marketable skill like plumbing, like whatever. Maybe it's consulting, freelancing, buying an asset, or starting a small business. Maybe it's simply saving enough to give yourself time to make a thoughtful decision when life changes. The principle is universal. Do not allow one source to carry the full weight of your financial life forever. So here's the question I want to leave with you today. If your paycheck disappeared 6 months from now, what would still be working for you? What are you building now before you desperately need it? Some of the best financial decisions we make are the ones we make before life forces us to make them. When I got fired, I thought I had only lost a paycheck. But looking back, I found a financial philosophy that still guides me to this day. Education gave me knowledge. Action gave me options. And as always, keep learning, but don't let learning become the place where your dreams go to hide.